Hello and welcome to Jamie's Motion Graphics, episode 40. Today we're making this. So this is a very simple effect and I will explain it to you very quickly, but then I will go into some more detail on how you can amplify the effect to make it a little better. Anyway, let's just get right into it. Okay, so here we are in After Effects. We are going to make a very simple effect today. So we're going to start off with a new composition. It's going to be 1280 by 720, 30 frames per second, and I made it 30 seconds because that's definitely enough, and we will cut off what we don't need afterwards. I don't know why they just don't set that to like 2 minutes all the time, and then you can cut it off in the end, but hey, whatever. I'm going to start off with a text layer. You can do this with pictures as well, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, we're going to go for the Jamie's Motion Graphics there, and just plop it in there. You can of course do this with whatever. I'm just making it a text because, well, that's what I have and that's easy to make. And then we're going to make a second layer. It's going to be a solid, it doesn't matter which color it is, and we're going to rename it, call it beam, and you guessed it, we're going to generate a beam. So go to generate beam, and there you have it. So this effect generates this little thing. As you can see, it's very small at the moment. So first of all, we're going to set the length to 100%. And that means it's going to start and end at the points that are actually prescribed here. And you can, of course, edit those. So if I want this to be over here somewhere, I think that sounds about right. I need to, because I'm going to do two things. First of all, I'm going to wipe top to bottom. So we're going to have to do this, this X position a little bit to the left so that it is actually, well, reasonably centered. We're going to do top to bottom, and we're going to wipe in like a radial fashion. The thing is, well, this is kind of a puny thing. So we can actually say, well, instead of 8, I want to have 25, and that makes it a little more solid. As you can see, this is kind of a lightsaber effect. So yeah, you can definitely use it for that. By the way, if you set this to 0, for example, you get an effect like this. And if that's what you want for something, then yeah, that's cool too. The beam is actually not very versatile, but it's definitely an effect worth learning. And well, what we're going to do now is we're going to set the color, and then we're going to be done with the beam and just do the rest with the position of the layer. And the rotation, because the rest doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to take here is a little bit of blue, and then, well, the edge you can see is kind of, yeah, not the right color here. I'm going to try to mix them so that they actually match a little bit better. But this sounds about right. So yeah, the text color can be changed as well, of course. Oh, hang on, we need to be in the correct layer for that. So let's say we want a ramp on that. So I'm just going to put some effect on the text so that it's not just a white text. And we're going to go from blue because we're doing blue today, and I do a lot of blue. And let's say we go to black. Let's see what that looks like. Obviously, we need to put them up a little bit, up, and yeah, there you can see the little circle, which is where the effect ends. And black, obviously not a good choice here. You can see that, but we'll change that to white again, or maybe like light blue, something like that. That would actually work. So yeah, it's going to be blue. Now I'm not sure about my beam color, but let's make the beam color a little bit more actually there, and maybe even make the edge a completely different color. Red is actually very ugly, but some kind of effect like this would actually work. So yeah, just try to find something that you find attractive, and that is mostly what's good enough. I'm just going to take yellow then, I think. Not that it's so attractive, but at least it works. What I want is I want a color that actually stands out a little bit while still keeping the solidness of the beam alive. So we're going to go top to bottom, as I said. So let's first animate the beam to go top to bottom. So first of all, we're going to stand at 0 seconds, and we're going to zoom in here a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to put it to 0, which means it's on top, and I'm actually going to lift it up a little bit extra, so let's say -20. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let it drop over 2 seconds. We can always adjust it later. It's just, well, I need to have an effect, and we're going to put it to 720 plus 20. So now it's actually, well, off screen. And I forgot to set the key points, did I? Yeah, I did. So anyhow, yeah, don't do that. But we do know the numbers now, so we can just type them in. So if you want to have something more fancy than just a straight line, you can adjust it here. If you click the position itself, then you get both of the points. You can edit them with the pen tool. You can edit the path with these handles that are on it. Oh, yeah, the handles are kind of hard to click, but yeah, this way it goes like this, so you can see that it swirls a little bit. And if that's what you want, then yeah, now you know how to make it. I personally don't want any of that, so I'm going to use the Convert Vertex tool to make these into linear points, making sure that it is a straight line between them. And yes, lines are always straight, otherwise they're called curves. But anyhow, that's really beside the point. What we're now going to do is we're going to edit this guy to match the beam. So there's no magical way to do this. All we need to do is just put a mask just right on here. Yeah, let's just make it like this. It doesn't even matter. Currently, we're just going to go to the masks, and the mask path next to it is shape. We're going to set this to it's supposed to be -20, right? But I don't know where it's counting from. Apparently not from, yeah, it's probably counting from the middle, which means that we have 360. Yeah, -360 would be the top, so yeah, -380 then. And the bottom one doesn't really matter. As long as it's outside of the picture, it's all good. Left and right don't matter either. So yeah, apparently that was not enough. Let's see how this works, because I don't know where it's counting from. That's my main problem. Normally I would just fill in -20 and be done with it, but I guess it's something like this that I need to have, and now I should be able to see which value that is. But yeah, I really can't make sense of this. Maybe it has to do with the position of the text. Anyway, we're just going to wing it from here on out, I guess. Let's just go forward a little bit. Oh, I'm going to animate the mask path. So there's that. So over here, we are going to check whether the mask is actually synced up with it. For the rest, it doesn't really matter. This is going to be a subtract mask, so that there's no text available. And then we're going to go to the 2-second mark. And here we know that the thing is underneath the entire picture. So drag it down, hold shift, and just plop it down about 20 units underneath it, so where you left the thing. And you can see, wow, it's almost perfectly lined up. It's just a little bit off, and as I said, here we're going to check it. So we're just going to set it to its correct position. And there you go. So what you want to do is you want to put this mask somewhere in the blue zone. So the blue zone is non-transparent. The rest is kind of transparent. And yeah, that's all you need to know. So if you put it in the yellow zone, it will look weird. If you put it in the blue zone, nobody will notice. So what it does now, it wipes on the text. Wow. Well, it can be a very cool effect, I'm just saying. So yeah, it's a very simple effect to make, as you might have noticed, but it does look great if you combine it with some other stuff, and it's definitely something that you can use. The beam effect is well, very useful. It's nice and bright, so you can make some nice colors out of it. And as I said, you do need to combine it with some other stuff to make sure that it actually comes out the way it should. I'm going to switch away from the yellow. It didn't look bright, so let's make it into something bluish. And there you go. So it just wipes it on. You can, of course, also do them one letter at a time by, well, just making different masks that appear or that make them appear. But yeah, this is a very simple effect. I'm sure you can figure out the rest. So the second thing I wanted to do is actually with a similar comp. So let's just duplicate this one. Control D. And we are going to take the beam. The position is actually going to be reset here, so right click reset, and that gives us back the middle position. I'm also going to delete the mask just so we can see what we're doing. And then what we're doing here is we're going to address the anchor point. Hang on, let me remove everything. So now there's nothing on here except, well, the beam, well, everything you can see basically. So we're going to put the anchor point over there, and we do that by dragging the anchor point's value to the correct position, which is right here. And then we go to the position, and then we drag it back. So it doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's, well, visibly okay. And this seems about right. So what we're now going to do is we're going to use the rotation of the beam layer to create our effect. So we're going to start, for example, at let's say here. And of course this normally has to go or come from somewhere, but yeah, we're not going to be worried about that. So normally, yeah, you don't want this to be just nothing, so you can make this into another animation that makes this beam go over here. Like maybe it comes flying in with something and then it wipes. Like maybe it comes in from the left and there are two beams, one in the bottom, one in the top, and they both just swing over it and they paint it. I don't know, something like that. But I'm just here for the effect, so I don't really care what you do with it. As long as you understand how to make it, then I am a happy man. So at ×2, we're going to put this to 90 degrees, which means that now it's going to rotate and it will paint the entire thing. So all we need to do is make sure it's removed and then it gets painted back on. So once again, we are going to go to this, well, the mask tool, well, not actually the mask tool, the rectangle tool. And we're going to stand as closely as possible to this point, this well, anchor point. I guess we actually know the value because we just put it there, and so we should be able to do it even better than this. But I'm just going to do it like this. That's good enough. So what we're now going to do is we're going to put this one up top here somewhere. It doesn't really matter where exactly, and this one is going to the side, and then we're going to set the mask to subtract. So what we're doing here is we're going to follow this this beam around while it's rotating. So I'm going to first of all go to 1 second, and it's a really easy one because, well, we just need to do this and then everything is great again. So let's just put it as closely as possible to the beam. As I said before, you need to stay on the beam, and apparently we're not really in the rotation center. So we do need to be in the rotation center here. Oh, I once again forgot to put on the mask thingy, which is kind of messy, but hey. I'm just not paying attention, and you should. Anyhow, just putting it back over there at ×0. And don't expect this to be right in one go. That is why I went to 1 second to put it, well, in the right spot. But you can see here it's way off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to ½ second. Well, actually we can go to 2 seconds and make that one as well. So you can see that at 2 seconds it needs to be over here somewhere. It doesn't have to be perfect here because we're long done, and we're going to have to do the rest anyway. So let's go to ½ second and just say at ½ second we're over here. So I'm just lining it up with the beam, and then at ¼ second, yeah, it's still a little bit off. So at ¾ of a second it will be a little bit off. Well, it's actually quite a lot off. and I'm just going to line it up with the beam every time. So now let's see how good it is for the rest. Well, here it doesn't even matter because there's no text available. Here the text starts, and it's actually pretty close to where it needs to be. Here it goes, well, kind of away from our beam. So just put it back and try to just do it with as little effort as possible, because here this is still good enough. Nobody's going to notice that it's in the edge of the effect. But yeah, if it goes off of it, then you need to take care of that. So I'm still pretty sure that this is all correct now. So you can scroll through it with the page down, page up. So this is page down currently, obviously. So and then we're going to do the same for the second half. Just go to half a second, go to a quarter, or 1 1/4, I guess. And go to 1 3/4. And at 1 3/4 is actually good. So we're going to just set a keyframe there in case we need to adjust one of the others. But it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems that this last part is pretty good. So here it's going off the rails again, which is fine. Just select your point again. Just drag it to where it needs to go. And yes, the type of movement can be programmed and things like that. You can also do it with a radial wipe. But it's not that much work, and this way you can make your own effect basically, which is pretty cool as well. So now it seems to follow it pretty nicely, and even though it's a completely similar effect to the other one, it is still very nice. So yeah, it's going to stay on the beam here, and it's done. So what the effect looks like now is, well, like this. The last one, by the way, in case that wasn't obvious. So the first one was to load in, and the loading in was actually faster than the other one. So yeah, we now have this comp 2 is now actually the one that we made before, but yeah, that's really not the point. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a composition called Final Design. And we're going to plot both of them in here. So both 1 and 2. And actually, let's make one appear at, let's say, 3 seconds. That's exactly 3 seconds. The other one we're going to eliminate at that point. So just hit the split layer effect. Just delete everything that's behind here. And then what's happening is this one comes on, it stays there for 1 second, and then it goes to the second one. So we still would like to have a background, obviously, and the second thing is we would like to have a different timing. So this first one, I guess, is fine. Let's see what it looks like actually. So this is what it looks like currently. So the first one actually is fine. It needs to be sped up a little bit. So let's go to time stretch and set it to, like, I don't know, 50%, meaning that it's now twice as fast. And we're going to, well, push this one a little bit forward now. But this one is actually a different story. Because this one is actually, or it would be nice if it actually had some action to it. So we're going to go to Enable Time Remapping, and that gives us 2 dots, one over here and one in the end. I can't actually show you the end because it's off screen. But there are 2 points here, and what we can do is we can actually move to, like, I don't know, where the effect ends. So the effect ends right here somewhere. And we can say, okay, I want to speed up the effect, but I want to keep everything behind it the same. So just select, or well, put your keyframe here. This is where the effect has ended. So let's say we want to have, well, a slower start and then a quicker exit. That means that this point is going to have to be moved forward. No, actually, yeah, it's a little bit more complicated. First of all, we're going to do the slower thing. So the slower means that we make a point here. This one has to be dragged back, so towards the right side. But we also want a faster exit, which means that this one has to be dragged to the left. So let's do it. Let's put this one to the right and then this one to the left. And it just means that now we're going to see a little bit of a different thing. Let's actually do from the current time. And yeah, I think it's hard to notice what it actually does, but it's hang on, let me show you again. It's slow in the beginning and then fast in the end, and it's kind of hard to notice. But yeah, you can see that it's slow and then it kind of wipes through it. We can increase the effect, of course, by just increasing the distance between the one and, well, these two, and decreasing this. So if we make it like this, I don't know, something like that. Let's make it like this. Then the effect will be very noticeable. Here you can see that especially in the beginning, it's slow and then it goes very quickly through the rest. Well, I can't really come up at this very moment with how I should edit it to make it like pop. But you can definitely see that even though we made a 2-second very stationary rotation, that you can do something with it. Like you can also, if you just remove this, I'm assuming that works. Yeah. So now it's back to normal. And we're going to go to enable time remapping. Let's say we want to have something that that's fast in the beginning up until here. And then it slows down for a few frames, and then it goes normal speed for the rest, or it even, I don't know, it does something else. It doesn't really matter. So let's say we wanted to speed up, slow down, speed up. First of all, we're going to slow down the beginning, which means we take all the points and we drag all of the points forward. This speeds it up because this distance becomes smaller. So the time this movement has to be done, it becomes smaller, which means the speed goes up. Then we're going to select these two and drag these away, which means this one is going to have more time for the same movement, which means that it's going to go slower. And this one is going to be dragged forward, which means the same as it did before. Less time means more speed. So yeah, let's see what it actually looks like. So it's obviously not a good animation, but yeah, you can see that this might be useful. It's definitely not a world-class animation on its own, but hey, it can work. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. It's not a very complicated effect, and I even told you way more than I needed to get you to understand the effect and how it's made. But yeah, if you have something that you made with this or that incorporates this in its grand design, please leave a comment and show me where it is, and I'll gladly take a look at it. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.